Hello, it's the last week of April here in Brisbane. My name's Janice Golder.
And my name is Celeste Muller, and this is Real World News. Here are your headlines.
Queensland's coroner says police protecting a violent criminal were not informed about his violent background. This contributed to Tyson Jesson's death while in police custody. Jesson was in Ipswich Hospital under police guard when he was shot.
In city news, the local Everton Park Library is finally getting a facelift. It's been over 3 decades since the last renovation, and this one is serious business. The new construction will include replacing the current building, adding computer and study spaces, and a new car park.
Billionaire Elon Musk is buying Twitter for $61 billion. Musk says he bought the company because it's not living up to its potential for free speech. He says he will also take the company private.
Uber admitted in court this week that it's been taking passengers for a ride. Apparently, Uber drivers have been cancelling trips and charging passengers anyway. This is the 3rd time in 5 years Uber has been caught doing something unsavoury, and now federal investigators want to fine the ride-sharing company $26 million.
In other transportation news, the City of Brisbane added a new electric bus to its metro fleet and will soon begin testing it on several bus routes. Don't be surprised by its appearance. It's a long black bus that can hold up to 170 passengers, and it's 100% electric.
Those are your headlines. Checking the markets now. It's time to mind your business.
A host of blue-chip companies are set to release statements this week. Among them, Johnson & Johnson, Netflix and Lockheed Martin. This as the global markets tap the brakes. Everyone's agreed the economy is robust, but in the background, Australia's central bank just bumped up interest rate by 25 basis points. The bank hopes the rate hike will slow the economy down, and warns that if inflation continues, it's prepared to raise the rates again. Of course, rate increases are not good news for homeowners because mortgage rates must also climb. One banker says the average homeowners could be paying an additional $300 a month by Australia Day. In tech news, billionaire Elon Musk bought Twitter for $34 billion, and that news had many at the tech company scrambling for the exits. Musk say he bought the company hoping to improve its potential for free speech, but he has also looking at the bottom lines, and that means layoff. Tech billionaire Mike Cannon-Brookes became energy giant AGL largest shareholder this week. After a rejected offer to purchase AGL, Cannon-Brookes informed the energy provider he had purchased 11% of their shares, allowing him an opportunity to vote against AGL's proposed breakup next month and transition to renewable energy. Finally, one tech giant is betting that the COVID-inspired home office is the new normal. HP just announced a $3.3 billion bid for Poly and audio headset manufacturer. Clearly, HP sees more Zoom calls in the near future. Checking the markets, the Dow Jones Industrial are up by 84 points. The Nasdaq is up by 201 points, and the ASX 200 is down by 30 points. Those are your financial headlines. I am Kay Chai, and that's us minding your business. See you next time.
After a week of heavy rains, we need to remember that this is storm season. Here's a look at your weather.
I'm Zoe Harsbrook, and this is your weather. Darwin, sunny with clouds, 36. Cairns, late thunderstorm, 31. Brisbane, sunny and 23. Sydney, expect some rain and 17. Canberra and Melbourne, both cold with a chance of snow, 6. Hobart, snow and 5 degrees. Adelaide, morning drizzle but clearing, 14. Perth, warm and 25. And Alice Springs, sunny and hot, 35. And the outlook for Brisbane this weekend has cloudy on Friday, a possible storm on Saturday, clearing to another glorious day on Sunday. I'm Zoe Harsbrook. This was your weather. See you next time.
The Greater Public Schools League has just finished several sports seasons. Here's a look at your sports wrap-up.
Brisbane Greater Public School District wrapped up several sports seasons this week, including cricket, swimming and rowing. Brisbane Grammar School won the cricket premiership, defeating Brisbane Boys College in the final round. It's been over 9 years since the last time they finished atop the GPS League in cricket. Brisbane Grammar also dominated the league in swimming this season. They won 5 of the 9 showcase relay programs to win top honours. BGS also claimed 9 individual victories. Now turning to rowing, the GPS celebrated its 100th anniversary of the Head of the River, and the top rowing honours went to Brisbane Boys College. That's twice in 2 years that BBC took the O'Connor Cup. Finally, the GPS hosted its debating competition, and the Churchy debate team outmanoeuvred BGS and Brisbane State High to win its 3rd debate championship in a row. Those are your high school sports headlines. I'm Jordan Gibb, and this is Real World News. See you next time.
Hoping to encourage young people to launch new companies, the Queensland University of Technology just conveyed another round of entrepreneurial scholarships. Here's a conversation with one of those future business leaders.
Sarah Eisenmenger founded a STEM education business, Zest Robotics, that aims to increase STEM confidence in school-age female students and attract them to a field that is often dominated by men. Welcome, Sarah. So what first inspired you to pursue your passion in STEM?
My first inspiration came from when I joined my school robotics club in high school. I was in grade 9, and when I first joined the robotics club, I walked into a classroom full of 20 or so boys where I was the only girl. And you can imagine how that would make a young high school student feel. I felt alone, kind of alienated. I felt like I didn't fit in. And most importantly, I felt like I wanted to quit. That's a problem that we're seeing time and time again in primary schools, high schools, universities, where in these clubs and in STEM classrooms, there is such a large gender gap between girls and boys. And that was one of the first times that I experienced that firsthand in my life. So that experience for me, joining the robotics club, was one of the first times that I knew I wanted to make a difference in the STEM community. So I worked with my teachers over the next 2 years to build up my experience in educating, presenting, and robotics experience as well, until I was confident enough to bring a platform to my school and to bring a platform to the community, Zest Robotics, where girls could come and feel confident learning about STEM and robotics without any gender bias.
Amazing. So tell us a bit about Zest Robotics. What is it all about?
So Zest Robotics was founded in 2019, and it's a female-led initiative that helps girls to kind of grow in the STEM space and find the confidence that they need to go out into the world and kind of make room for themselves. So we do workshops around Southeast Queensland where girls come in and they learn about robotics, engineering and STEM in general. And our goal is to equip them with the confidence, the skills, the leadership needed to then take their skills that they learn in that workshop back to their school and kind of implement their own initiatives within their school to increase that gender gap that they're seeing.
Awesome. So how do you think Zest Robotics will impact society, especially young females?
So running these workshops across Southeast Queensland, we've been seeing some pretty broad changes, but focusing in on the Sunshine Coast, especially where I grew up, I'm seeing some definite changes. For example, my first robotics competition that I went to, there wasn't a girls' team there. And then when I go back to that same competition 3 years later, when I'm volunteering, I'm then seeing there's 3, 4, 5 all-girls teams there. And they're not only just participating, but they're actually winning at some of these competitions. So these are the changes that I've been really happy to see, and it kind of drives my passion for my business.
That's great. Have you encountered any difficulties so far in your business journey?
So there are always difficulties being a young woman in STEM and entrepreneurship. One of them has been imposter syndrome and feeling like maybe I don't have the expertise needed to take on a business, which is definitely not true. Anyone of any age can take on a business. The other one being that girls in these spaces, they tend not to have a lot of room and their voices tend to not be heard. So one of the ways that I'm combating this with my business is giving women and girls a platform to kind of come together and learn.
Yeah, so what's next for Zest Robotics and what's your ultimate goal with your business?
In the future, we want to expand beyond Southeast Queensland. We're hoping to take it to other states in Australia and also create an online platform where students can tune in virtually to learn from our workshops. That is making our workshops a lot more a lot more accessible to people all across Australia. We also want to work to develop curriculum for teachers to use within schools as well.
Amazing. Well, that's such an important thing for young women in the world today, and I really appreciate your time talking to us.
Thank you.
So that's all we got time for today. My name is Michaela Mulvini, and this is Real World News. See you next time.
Now that COVID restrictions have lifted, the city of Brisbane has a new spring in its step. Reporter Brooke Tyndall has this report on the new swing dancing movement.
I'm at City Hall today to visit the latest exhibit, Making Place, 100 Views of Brisbane. With several major changes to city infrastructure and urban development already underway, Brisbane as we know it is set to undergo a drastic transformation over the next few years. Parts of the city residents once called home could soon become unrecognisable. We spoke to the Museum of Brisbane's assistant curator, Emma McLean, about the inspiration behind Making Place.
So Making Place is an exhibition that looks into the city and the way we've transformed over the years, and to create a space where you can also pause and reflect on where we've been and where we're going.
A totally immersive experience, works are displayed from floor to ceiling, giving visitors the opportunity to see, read, listen and reflect on how our city has evolved. Bellevue View, a colourful tribute to the street in Highgate Hill, paints a suburban scene many Brisbaneites know well. Local artist Stephen Nothling explains how the concept of change and development inspired the artwork of his beloved neighbourhood.
Well, all I really want to do is walk out my front gate and paint every house in the street that I live in. I was actually looking at was a sort of almost a history of the architecture of Brisbane, from the sort of the old Queenslander at the bottom of the hill to the sort of, you know, the 2020s sort of modern building.
Making Place also features a newly commissioned sound artwork by artist-in-residence Lawrence English. The piece, titled Sight Listening, captures the city's many soundscapes, from busy train stations to serene wildlife.
Sight listening is a kind of invitation for people to go to places and be present there. If you realign your focus to your ears and to audition, there's a whole other sense of the world that opens up, and this project is about encouraging people to kind of engage with that sense.
The exhibition has also improved accessibility for hearing and vision impaired patrons, providing in-depth audio descriptions of the artwork as well as accompanying Auslan interpretation.
Welcome to Making Place, 100 Views of Brisbane.
It's so important to continue to work towards being an accessible building. We'd like it to be a very civic, democratic space, and we'd love to see the community here.
Making Place 100 Views of Brisbane is on now and is open all week long. Entry is free, so it's the perfect opportunity for people of all ages to revisit Brisbane as it was and to contemplate what it will become in the future. I'm Izzy Morey. This has been Real World News.
That's the news here in Brisbane. My name is Janice Golder.
And my name is Celeste Muller. This is Real World News. See you next time.